Hi, I'm Zanzi. You are listening to Farmers Inside Track, proudly brought to you by Food Forum Zanzi. My name is Patricia Tembo, your host, and welcome to today's episode. So today we're discussing calf rearing on an introductory level to help farmers build healthier, more productive herds. This episode is set to be both informative and practical as we welcome Junior Mkansi, who is a livestock specialist and assistant researcher at the University of Free State's experimental farm. Junior Mkansi, welcome to Farmers Inside Track. I am very excited to get into today's topic with you and just to have you on the podcast. We were able to chat at the Young Farmers in Daba this year, so it's been one coming, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Patricia, for the invite. It's an honor and a privilege for me being here.
Maybe if we could get a little bit more context of the work you're currently doing in the agricultural space. I know that you're a livestock specialist. And fun fact for the listeners, we're both completing our masters. So I think it's fun that I get to pick your brain today. But Junior, please give us just a brief introduction of the current work you're doing in the agricultural space.
I'm Junior Mkansi. I come all the way from Limpopo and I'm a livestock specialist. I hold an undergrad degree in animal production management. After that, I did my PG dip in sustainable agriculture and currently I'm doing masters in sustainable agriculture. While growing up, I was exposed to the livestock industries when I had a passion for it. And the funny thing is, on my first cow, I hand raised it. House rearing, I studied it a long time ago. I didn't start yesterday. Currently working for the UFS experimental farm, where I work in the sheep, in the dairy, and also in the beef cattle. I've also worked in various farms throughout my years of studying.
That's really cool that since you're a child, you're already rearing calves. So that is our topic today. It's going to be quite informative because you're speaking from your whole life, essentially, rearing calves, which is so cool. Maybe for our listeners who aren't in livestock or who aren't so familiar with calf rearing, what exactly is that? And why is it an important part of the livestock operation?
Calf rearing is raising a calf. Whether you wean it from its mother or you are feeding it milk directly so that it can grow, then you wean it later on. Calf rearing is important because it determines the profitability of the farm. In weaner production systems, rear them, they will sell them as soon as they wean them. Then in other cases, they replace the cows and then use them to breed and continue the generation. And also these calves carry strong genetics, which they get them from their stud fathers and all that.
And of course, with calf rearing, I suppose it's what comes after calving. Maybe you can explain what the transition is from the calving and when the management starts after calving. That would maybe clarify when exactly calf rearing starts before we get further into the other questions.
Calf rearing in dairy and so not calf rearing. In the beef side, you do calf rearing when the mother passes on and you have to rear it. In the dairy side, management differs in the different farms that you are at. After one day, they just allow the calf to get a colostrum from the mother. Then from day 2, they start the rearing.
You mentioned colostrum now. And of course, I think for most people understand mammals need colostrum the first few hours of life, right? So it's essential. And it's no different for cattle. So could you talk us through how a farmer can ensure a calf gets the right amount of colostrum within those critical hours? Maybe just explain the time frame as well.
The farmer needs to observe, obviously, the cow and calf. If the calf is getting colostrum, in order for the farmer to observe, he must group the animals that are near calving so that he can observe. Then within the first 12 to 24 hours, the calf should have gotten colostrum to avoid failure of passive immunity. Passive immunity is the transfer of the immune system from the mother to the calf via colostrum.
So passive immunity is like the key thing when it comes to colostrum. Okay, so colostrum is for immunity, but I'm wondering if there's other reasons, that a calf needs to get colostrum. There may be an emphasis on protein at this stage. I suppose it depends on the production system, but is there an emphasis on the amount of energy or protein that is in the colostrum? And what role does a farmer play in this?
Energy is more important than colostrum at this stage because the calf needs energy to stand up, energy to suckle, and energy to maintain its body temperature. Then protein is responsible for growth, but at this stage, energy is much more important because we're not really interested in growth now. We're interested in it getting the colostrum, which also acts as a source of protein, which will help it grow on a later stage. So what's the use of the animal having a lot of protein while it has less energy? The animal won't be able to stand up, won't be able to cycle, and won't be able to maintain its body temperature. So energy is much more important at this stage than protein.
Looking at poor colostrum management, let me give an example. A farmer, they weren't as observant because you mentioned observing. Let's say a farmer, for whatever reason, was unable to do that. Okay. What are the risks of poor colostrum management, and why is it so important that a farmer ensures that this stage does occur properly, that a calf does receive the colostrum? What's the result of neglecting that?
Yeah, the consequences of neglecting that is that there won't be any passive immunity transferred to the calf, meaning the calf will have diarrhea, pneumonia, fever, and poor growth. And the poor growth and this will start showing within a few days, within a week. And then the long-term effect is that the animal won't be that productive. The growth rate will be slower and all that.
Thanks, Junior. That sounds like farmers setting themselves up for financial loss, which I think is the whole point of farming or the calving. The point is for you to meet profit margins or to sustain the business. So I think linking that, the neglecting the colostrum to, that leading to financial losses is maybe a way farmers can understand the importance of colostrum.
Yeah, the financial losses with the diarrhea. Diarrhea can lead into death. It will affect the immunity first, the calf's immunity, then it will result into death. So the main problem with calves is diarrhea, which is caused by mismanagement of the colostrum.
Okay, so now looking at the growth of the calf, that falls under calf rearing. And from your experience, what are realistic expectations for a farmer when it comes to the growth of a calf? Maybe even explain according to production systems, because I'm not sure if it differs, the growth targets differ for different production systems. I'd assume so. What are the expectations a farmer should have with calves and growth?
Yes, it differs with the production systems. In dairy, as I said, rearing starts as soon as possible, whether it's a day old or 3 days old or whatever. Then with the beef, calf rearing is not really a thing. It's a thing if the mother passes away and you have to hand raise it. So the farmer should measure the weight as often. Make sure that the animal eats food and supply the 4 liters of milk every day, which is 2 liters in the morning and 2 liters in the afternoon. Then everything, I believe, will run as smooth. And they must not forget the vaccines and prevention of all these diseases. And biosecurity is very important when it comes to cows, because the environment can negatively affect its growth and its productivity.
And as you mentioned, with dairy farming, it's as soon as possible that a farmer would start rearing. With beef production systems, for farmers who are supplying feedlots, is growth something that they need to pay more attention to of the calves? Or maybe if you could just give some insight on that.
Yes, definitely. They have to pay attention, because the heavier the calf is, the more money you get. Hence, in the beef system, as soon as the calf gets born, we weigh it. Body weight is very important. Hence, when you're selecting the bull, you check the one that has a high body weight. So yeah, with the beef cattle, we usually wean them around 7 months. And when we wean them, we also supplement feed, which helps it to pick up weight quicker. And also supplement multi-min and multi-vite to help with the stress and the setbacks of the weight. It must keep its standard and gain more kilos.
I love that you've now mentioned weaning, because I think we can go into that aspect of rearing now. How do you approach weaning to minimize the stress that the calf experiences? Because I understand that when calves, especially because their immunity is still developing, stress is something that can lower immunity and lead to diseases and things like that. So how do you minimize the stress when it comes to weaning them from the mother?
In dairy, you already wean them from the mother after a day. So when giving them milk in the calf pens, you wean them as a group. Animals versus cows alone, so you wean them as a group. And when you're approaching weaning, we usually wean them around 4 weeks. So from week 7, you start giving them milk once a day, in the morning only, and you don't give them milk in the afternoon. So that helps it to adjust to less milk and soon to no milk. So you give them once a day from week 7 until week 8. Then also you give them a supplementary feed, and also you give them multi-min and multivite to help with the vitamins and minerals.
And that's dairy, right?
Yes, that's dairy.
And with beef cattle, is it the same process? So what does weaning look like for beef production?
So for beef production, there is something we call crib feeding. Crib feeding is you give them supplementary feed which help them pick up weight quicker. So you provide that and also provide multi-min and multi-minerals, which is in a form of injections. So you're good to go with that.
Okay, so for beef production systems, the purpose is for weight to increase or pick up as much weight as possible, which I think is different to what you
Yes, so it should have been a lot. Yes.
Okay. And then the early warning signs during the rearing stage that the environment is compromising growth, the health, or, any of those factors that are important for, production. What are those signs that something is not working with the rearing?
The signs are cherry eyes, which is caused by an infestation. The cow cherry eyes, and also the feeding take will decrease. And also when you observe the animal, it's not as alert as it should be. A farmer knows when the livestock is not fine, when something is wrong. Some of those you can see.
It sounds like pest control then is also an important aspect of the rearing stage. So what does pest control typically look like, maybe in the context that you work in, to just ensure that the calves aren't stressed from environmental factors? What does pest control look like?
So before and after removing calves inside a pen, you must disinfect the pen, killing all bacterials and all those things. And every now and then you must spray an insecticide which kills the fly and keeps them away. Because the flies sit on the eye, then it causes eye infections. And eye infection stresses the animal. And when it's the animal stressed, the body content decreases, it stops eating, and its productivity is just affected like that.
Thanks, Junior. And you did mention that diarrhea is one of the quickest ways to notice that something is wrong with a calf, or one of the first symptoms that you'd see that something is wrong. What diseases are usually linked to calf rearing or to calves? What diseases are calves most susceptible to that farmers need to be aware of?
Oh, there's also pneumonia. If a place doesn't have ventilation, so the cows also get pneumonia. Diarrhea is the most common one. Every farmer will tell about diarrhea, which is caused by mismanagement of colostrum.
I'm assuming a wise farmer would have a vaccine program during the calf rearing stage to also prevent certain diseases. Could you maybe expand on that as well?
There's a disease which is called bovine viral diarrhea. You vaccinated 4 weeks old. Then there's Vax, which you vaccinated while around 7 to 8 weeks when you're about to wean the calves, which ends all the colostridial diseases.
So having a vaccine program is something that you would recommend a farmer to have during the calf rearing stage? Is that something farmers should have in place already?
Yes. Because 2 months before weaning, some of the vaccines are administered through the mothers. So it goes to the calf via passive immunity, via the colostrum.
So colostrum is the primary form of immunity that a calf will get. The first initial, I suppose, immunity. But Does a farmer stop there when it comes to immunity? Or do they have to also make sure to vaccinate even after the colostrum has been received by the calf?
Yes, they have to vaccinate because a calf only is able to build its own immunity after 2 months. So the immunity from the mother helps from 0 to 2 months.
And maybe if we can look at the role that technology is playing in today's context, especially in the South African context, like what kind of technologies are you using on the farm for calf rearing? What is something you'd recommend to farmers?
Technology is not that advanced, but with what I've seen on the internet and what other farmers are doing, they have automated feeders of the weight to check how much feed is being consumed, how much feed does one animal consume, and the conversion ratio and the weighing of the weight.
I've actually seen those in pig production systems, the automated feeding. That's pretty cool. So is that something that is accessible for farmers? Which sort of production system would you say that would be most beneficial for?
Usually this is used in feedlot after the beef cows are weaned. So for the farmer that's just starting, it's fine. You can just only weigh and observe. You'll be fine.
You've worked with cattle for calves as well for a very long time now. What are the most common mistakes you've made maybe, or mistakes you've seen farmers make when it comes to calf rearing and just management of calves in general? What are those mistakes? And I'm pretty sure they are there. I think farming is a continuous learning journey. So the mistakes that you have seen or made and how they can be avoided.
What I've seen is passive immunity, that the calf not getting the colostrum within time. And also another thing within dairy systems. biosecurity is very important. So there's this thing called cross-contamination. Let's say you're moving from pen 1 to pen 2, and there's an animal that's sick from pen 1, and you stepped on its feces or something. Then you're going to make the cows sick within the next pen. So those are the mistakes that I've seen that farmers do or workers do.
Yeah.
They tend to forget to disinfect, because there's always a little bucket where you disinfect. You disinfect when you go in and out of a pen to avoid cross contamination.
I don't know if there's anything else that you'd like to add when it comes to calf rearing. From what you see in your experiences, anything you think a farmer who's listening really, really needs to know about calf rearing? This is just, I suppose, an introduction to calf rearing. So we didn't dive into like specific nutrition, things like that. But as an introduction to calf rearing, is there anything else that you'd like to share and that you think farmers should know?
I think they know this, but as a reminder, biosecurity is very important, and also the timing. The timing is very important in terms of the passive immunity, making sure that the calf gets the colostrum within the first 12 hours. I'll stick on those two for now, since we're still doing the introduction, and we'll dive in deeper in the next session.
That would be great to really go into the more detailed aspects of calf rearing, because there's so much more to unpack. It's great to first just have context of what calf rearing is and the main things a farmer needs to look at.
Yeah, with dairy, it's more labor intensive. They must know that. And with beef, more chilled. Unless if the mother dies or the mother rejects, is when you need to tap in and need to hand raise the calf.
Thank you so much to Junior Mkansi. For more information about this topic, you can definitely visit www.foodformzansi.co.za. And that brings us to the end of this episode. Remember to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. From myself, Patricia Tembo, our technical producer, Megan van der Vent, and the rest of #Team Food for Mzansi, thank you for listening and keep growing with us.